I remember that I told Austin that he needed to ask her out because rumor was she was single for whatever reason.
We were sitting in his office and he's like, hey, you want to go over to this? I think it was like a career fair or something. We'll go over to this career fair real quick. And I said, why? I said, we coach basketball. I don't need a job. He's like, well, just come with me. And
he conned you into going into a career fair just as an excuse to see you.
It totally conned me. Yeah, and he's good at that. You know, he drags me into a few things like that occasionally. And I knew there was something up with it because I was like, all right, let's just go. And we went, and sure enough, she was there, and he went and talked to her, and I'm like, I guess I'm a wingman here. I got to get my game right.
So how I found out about it is we had the same like iMessages, and so I got a text message one night and it was like, meet me at the library, and I was like, who is this? Like, I don't have anything to meet. And he was like, Austin. So I was like, putting two and two together, you sneaky little things. And so I called her out. And so I called her out and I was like, I know who you're texting. And she tried to play it off and she's like, oh, he just needs a ride from the library. I know what a ride from the library means. Not like,
do you?
No, I mean like they're hanging out. Yeah. But they're like hanging out. Like I know they're hanging out. And so, I mean, I'm very open and chill to everyone. So I met Austin and so I was like, you know what? He's a good guy.
I honestly still remember the first night Austin brought Kelsey down so we could meet her for the first time. We were having a Nebraska football party in my basement, so I was already nervous that she would freak out watching my brother Chad scream and cuss at the TV like a madman. They walked in, and the energy level of the room jumped about 500 notches. She worked the room getting introduced to everybody, and she fit in like we'd known her our whole life. Next morning, my wife Tracy kept going on and on about how wonderful and nice and genuine and beautiful she was, and I absolutely agreed, but I told her I just felt bad that Kelsey drank about 15 Red Bulls the night before. I called Austin to check on her, and he laughed and said, didn't have a drop of Red Bull. That's how she is from the moment she gets up to the moment she goes to bed. I smiled, hung up, and told Trace, well, we'll be going to their wedding in a few years.
After I realized he was a diehard fan, I started cheering for the Royals. He took me to a couple of games, and when they got good and they made it to the World Series and won it, he calls me.
They did win. Believe it or not, that actually happened. They did win.
He's talking to me, and he says, I knew this girl was the one because she started crying for the Royals. When she did that and he told me that, I said, that's it.
That's it. It's over.
She's the one.
Austin and I had a chance to drive across the state of Missouri into Iowa together for about 4 hours one day. And on the way up there, we were talking about everything from recruiting to Kelsey to his mom and dad and just getting to know each other really well. And so just out of the blue, I blurted out, well, this would be a perfect time for you to ask me if you can have her hand in marriage. And he froze. So I think that the problem was when I followed up with, but these ditches are awful big right here on the side, that he thought I was serious. And so I come to find out a few weeks later that he was going to ask that day if he could have a hand in marriage, but he failed to do so. So it took us a few more months to get this deal arranged and organized. So. And the serious part about it was that's just kind of how nice he is. You know, he's just a good, solid guy. Okay.
Ever like that?